everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Cooning with TK once again. If it is your first time joining me, please do like, subscribe, and share the video. And if it is actually not your first time joining me and you have joined me before and you did subscribe, well then welcome back. It is actually very good to have you back. I hope everyone enjoyed their weekend. I also did as well. And so today I know that you can see that the camera is a bit different. It's just that I'm trying to find a perfect spot around the house for me to put the camera. And the person that usually helps me with the camera is not home right now, so I had to find a way to make it work. I hope it's not so bad, or it's not too bad. It's, you can see and it is clear. Please do follow me on Instagram. I am on Instagram, Twitter, as well as Facebook. I will be leaving my social media handles on the description below. And then another thing, people were actually DMing me and telling me that they cannot find this notification bell. So I'm aware now that some people do not have the notification bell. I really don't know why, because I I am really not a technical person. I am not. So I don't know why you wouldn't be able to find the notification bell. So what I'm gonna do is, on my social media accounts, I will be sharing links for the videos. Whenever I upload a video, I will share a link on my social media accounts so that everyone can actually be aware and access the videos. Okay, so exciting news. So on Friday, I did go for my court observation. It was my first ever court observation. And most people, were asking me, how did it go? How did it go? It went very well. It went very well, I must say. It went so well, in fact, that I actually didn't want to go home. That's how nice it was. I was there for almost the whole, because like we got there at 9. I was with my other friend. We got there at 9, and then we left there at like 2:30. So that's like half the day I was there. And then most people have been asking me how it went, so I figured for this week's first video, I'll just make a video about my observation in court. And also maybe this will help someone who is also going to be going for their court observation soon, just to know what to expect and things like that. Okay, so first things first, if you're a person that is like me and you watch those American series, you see those American crime series or crime movies where they go to court, maybe it's How to Get Away with Murder, Arrested Development, Scandal, or things like that, and you see them going to court. When you go to a South African court, it's going to be very different. Like, you're going to be very surprised, just like I was surprised. However, this is just a disclaimer. If maybe you went to another court, because where I was and the things that I'm going to be talking about are things that I saw in the magistrate court. I was in the magistrate court. I was not in like the High Court or the Supreme Court or anything like that. Maybe in the High Court or the Supreme Court, it's different from how I experienced in the High Court, in the magistrate's court. So do not kill me if it is different. If it is different, this is just my experience in the magistrate court. So firstly, in South African magistrates court, we do not have a jury. You see a jury, like those group of people that sit there. I think it's like 12 or 15 people that sit there and take notes, and then they go and then they make a decision, and then they say they find the accused guilty or not guilty. In South Africa, we do not have that, right? And then secondly, the lawyers or the attorneys or the advocates, they do not show up wearing those 12-inch heels, like those stilettos, those stilettos that they wear in movies. No, it is not. It is definitely not like that. Yeah, I mean, they do look nice, or maybe it depends on someone's sense of style. I'm not really sure, but then they don't wear like those like heels and things like that. No, they didn't. And then thirdly, in South African magistrates courts, there is no one that just that just shouts, that just jumps and shouts objection, which is something I was a bit disappointed about, because I used to think that that part is very fun. Um, that when someone says something that you go against, or something that you don't like, or whatever, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure why they usually do that. So there's no one that will jump and say objection. You just wait until someone finishes what they're saying, and then you ask your worship is usually the judge or the magistrate. You ask them, can you say something? Then if they say yes, then you can say something. And yes, so that is the main differences that I saw. And then another thing that I saw is that they don't deal with just one case. Maybe that, I think that's just the magistrate court though. I don't know about the high court. They do not just deal with one case, because when we got there, there were like 10 cases that they were gonna deal with that day. Those 10 cases, it was different cases that they were going to deal with. However, because of some circumstances, they ended up being postponed, and then I could only listen to one case. And then as usual, I took a lot of notes on that case. It was interesting, it was nice. Because obviously I do not want this video to be very long, I won't go into like deep details about the case. But then it was a case of an assault. A woman assaulted this other person, because this other person neglected her children, and this person was supposed to be looking after the kids, but then this person didn't. So the woman, she said that when she came back from drinking, because she went out with her friends, when she came back from drinking, she was angry that it was her niece. This niece did not take care of her kids the way that she was supposed to. So that's the only case that I listened to. And also I saw that when they presented the case as to like what happened, when did this happen, how did it happen, and things like that, she did say that she pleads guilty. She knows that she was wrong, her conduct was unlawful. She shows remorse, she's sorry about what she did, she knows that she was wrong, and things like that. But then which to me was actually very interesting, because I used to think that when you are a lawyer, or when you're an attorney, and then someone that you're supposed to represent just says they're guilty, it's very hard for you. It's very hard for you to represent that person, because I mean, they've said they're guilty. Like, if you are guilty, you need to be punished. So I also learned then that how do lawyers and attorneys, how do they defend those people? So then, even though she said that she was guilty, her defense was that the lawyer, that's the defense that they would worked out. She's a primary caregiver of those 4 children. She's got 4 kids. She is a first-time offender. She works at a saloon, and she works on commission basis, meaning that she cannot pay any fine that the courts would actually say maybe she must pay. She cannot pay that fine, and obviously she cannot go to jail, because she's a primary caregiver of her children. And her children, it's there's 4, 7 months, 10 and 12. So those are 4 children. So they really need her. On top of that, the 7-month-old child has been diagnosed with cancer, so she needs to be there. So then what ended up happening with regards to the ruling, because that was their defense, her and her lawyer. So I think what they were actually trying to go for is maybe something like community service or suspended sentence and things like that. Because, oh, and another thing is that the niece that laid the charges against this woman, they ended up resolving the issue at home, but then the state continued with the case. So what I learned is that even if me and the person we resolve our issue, the state still has the power to continue the case against me, even if the person that I had wronged decided that, you know what, I'm dropping the charges. The case, the states can still continue. They have that power. So it was now between her and the state, not between her and her niece. So and then another thing, they said that, you know, she's always here by herself. She's not wasting the states the state's resources. She's always in court on time and things like that. So she's an outstanding citizen, plus she's a first-time offender, and she's grown because she's a 33-year-old woman. So then they ended up, because now what the magistrate said was that, okay, you know, we understand everything that you're saying. However, you have a 7-month-old child and you went out drinking, which I also found it a bit strange. I mean, how can you go out drinking while you have a 7-month-old child? On top of that, it is not the niece's responsibility to look after your kids. It's understandable if maybe you'd gone to work, that is fine. But for you to go out drinking and then leave your kids under someone else's care, someone that doesn't have children, it's not their responsibility. So obviously there she was wrong. But then he also stated that, okay, since she's a primary caregiver, they can't really arrest her, because now that means that the children will go hungry and things like that. And also she cannot afford to pay like any fine. She cannot afford to pay like a big amount of money for a fine because she works on commission basis. So what they gave her is they said she has to pay a fine of 300 rands, and then if she fails to pay that fine, then she will go to jail for 30 days, yes, which is like 1 month. So yes, that was my court observation. Like I said, I won't really go into much details about it, but then I actually learned a lot. And like I'm saying, it was so nice. I didn't even want to leave anymore. Like I wanted to be there like the whole time. And then obviously I spoke to an advocate after, and she was very friendly. She helped me with the things that I needed help with and all of that. So it kind of made me understand why sometimes we would feel like it is unfair what the courts did, because we actually, and we're not there. Like for an example, if you are not there in court, you don't know what the woman's defense was. So for an example, things like, what do you do for a living? Are you educated? Are you a primary caregiver? Are you a first-time offender? They actually do play a vital role in the sentence that you get, whether you're getting a suspended sentence or community service, or you do go to jail. Those are things that actually play a vital role. Now, that is something that I didn't know. I really didn't know that. I just thought if you're guilty, you go to jail. But turns out it's actually not like that. And I also got to learn how lawyers actually defend people that just say, you know what, I am guilty, I did this, I did that. So I just thought if someone is guilty, they're guilty. Like there's nothing that you can do, there's nothing that you can say, they have to go to jail. So I learned that it's actually not as straightforward as we may think, or as the public, when we're standing outside looking in, we may think, oh no, they were supposed to go to jail. There's a lot of things that actually play part in the sentence that someone gets. So yes, so that is it for my court observation. I will be posting another video on Wednesday, and yes, so that will be all for today. Bye.